Hey guys, what's up? It's Josh. Welcome back to another video. As you guys can see behind me today, I have a 2020 BMW X5 xDrive40i. So that is a mouthful to say, but that's what we're going to be reviewing today. This car has so many cool features in it, and if you're in the market to buy an SUV, this is definitely one to be looking at. So before I start today's video, just wanted to say thank you to Portfolio for giving me this car for the day so that I could make this review. But with that being said, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and let's get into this X5. First, we're gonna go over the exterior of the X5. I wanted to just talk about some things that really stand out to me and some things that look really good on the 2020 model. So behind me, the lights on the car are the first thing that stand out to me. You guys can see on the side of them, it says BMW Laser. Now, if you go a little bit further down, you can see that on the lights, there's actually a blue outline that looks super cool. And especially like now in all of the new BMWs, they have this really distinct look to them. Now, the next thing that I think looks really nice on the front of the BMW X5 is the grille. If you guys don't know much about BMWs, the X3 has a smaller grille, the X5 has a medium-sized grille, and then the X7, which is the new big SUV that BMW has a giant front grille. So I'll probably review that car coming up pretty soon. That is the front of the BMW X5. I think it looks really nice. So moving on to the back end of the X5, I think the one thing that really stands out to me the most are the lights. When the lights are lit up at night, it looks really cool because the red on the outside is the running lights, and then the inside is your backup lights, and also your like turn signal lights. And then also, if you move down a little bit further, the casing on the exhaust looks nice. Even though the exhaust pipe isn't actually that big and like that crazy, they kind of put this nice casing over it so that it looks a little bit more stylish. So that is the exterior of the 2020 X5. Now we're gonna go on the inside and I'll show you guys the hundreds of features that this car has. So sitting inside the 2020 BMW X5, the first thing that stood out to me the most, and the first thing that I'm gonna start with, is the middle console. This specific model has an upgraded version of the controls and the gear shifter. It's all in glass. So this is a $650 option that you can add to the car, and it makes it just look a little bit more luxurious. So one thing that I'm starting to really like about BMWs is the way that they lay out all of their climate control options. So all the climate control is just right in the middle of this big dashboard, and as you guys can see, it's laid out in a really nice strip that you can basically push everything that you would need by just pushing one of these buttons. There's no screen that you have to like go through in order to turn your heated seat on or to like change the temperature of the inside of the car. Everything is laid out really nice and looks really good. And then just below that, you guys can see that that's where your volume knob is and all of the different like settings that you can change if you're wanting different radio stations to be on there. Just has some of your basic modes that you'd use for your radio. So one actually cool function that this car also has is it has gesture control. So if you're sitting in your car and you want to turn the radio up, all you have to do is point your finger at the screen and go like this and swirl your finger around, and it turns your radio up. Now also at the same time, it has different gestures that you can do, where if you want to switch between different tracks, you take your hand and you put it like this and you push it over and it actually changes the track. I think that this is really cool. It actually is a really useful function for when you're driving down the road. Sometimes you think that you don't really have to like look at your radio to turn the volume up, but I've noticed that having the gesture controls actually makes it a lot more convenient and really cool to be like doing functions on your radio. So that is just an extra little feature that it has. So I'm not done with all of the features that are in the front of this car, but I just wanted to move to the back to show you guys just some of the cool features that it has to kind of break this video up a little bit. So when you move into the back seat, there is a lot of room. I'm not tall, but I mean, when you're sitting back here, you have so much headroom, and it just feels really comfortable. Now, when you're back here, there's a couple of cool features that it has. As you guys can see right here on the seat, right in front of you, there is a USB-C port, which is super nice if you're wanting to like charge your iPhone. And then next to that, there is a big slot right here, which opens up where you can actually stick something in there if you want to put like an iPad, or if you have kids and you want to put something in there to like distract them. Move down a little bit further, there is a whole climate control system that's in the back seats. It also gives you the option to have heated seats, and each different side can adjust their climate control to whatever whatever they want. Also, the middle part of the seat, which is kind of the middle console, comes down and gives you a lot of extra room. So it has cup holders, it has storage if you want it, and they really make it like compact and small so that it looks really nice. So yeah, that is the back seats. You also have like a little storage area right here if you need to put something in. Now, a little extra feature that if you want this in your X5, you can get it. This specific model does have it, and they are window shades. So you actually just pull this shade up from the bottom and it hooks onto two little hooks that are at the top, and then you can have more privacy or block out the sun or do whatever you want to do with those shades up. But that is an option for the back seats of this X5. So moving up into the driver's seat, there's a couple things that I really like about this car. One of them being how big the steering wheel is. When you have your hands on the steering wheel, I don't know if all BMWs are like this, but the specific steering wheel in here is really like nice to hold on to. It feels like when you're grabbing it, you're actually grabbing something. I feel like some cars, the steering wheel feels really skinny. It doesn't really feel good when you're holding it. Another thing that this car also has is a lot of buttons on its steering wheel. Now, these are to help you in terms of cruise control or turning up your volume, but as you guys can see, there's just all of your cruise control options on the left, and then if you go over to the right, they have all of the different things that you can change in terms of your heads-up display and in your middle screen. And then on the steering wheel, if you go down a little bit further, they also have your heated steering wheel, which is a great place for that button, I feel like. This is also an M package in this car, so as you guys can see on the steering wheel, there is an M logo, and there's M located all over this car, like on the floorboards, and kind of on the rims and on the brakes and everything. So just in case everybody needs to know that you have the M package, that's how you find it. So moving on to the next cool thing that this car has, and that is on the doors. This car has just regular seat controls. You can control the back, the lumbar support, all that stuff. That's just located on the side of your seat. But one thing that this has that not a lot of other cars have is the opportunity to actually change and adjust the seat that's your passenger. So if you guys see on the door right here, there's a button that says number 2 on top of a seat. And when you push that, you can actually use your controls on your seat to adjust your passenger seat, which is kind of like good, I guess, if you're wanting to move it back, or you forgot to adjust it when somebody got out and you can't really see that well. You actually have that option to adjust the seat from just by pushing a button on your door. So moving on to the lights, I told you guys a little bit earlier that the lights on this car are really nice. Now, another really nice thing is the ability to do a lot with your lights. So you guys can see right here down by my left knee, there's a bunch of different options in terms of like different lights you can turn on. So first off, you can see that there is a big silver auto button, which is what I usually leave it on because that kind of knows what is best. But when you turn that off, there's a button under it that basically just turns on your parking lights. So just beside the auto button on the right, there is another light button, which is your low beams. And then if you go completely to the left, you can see that there's another button that looks similar, but those are actually your fog lights. So all of the different lights can be adjusted by just pushing them right here by your left knee. So before we get into all of the infotainment system and every cool feature that this car has in terms of technology, I wanted to show you guys just some of the space that this car has, because it's actually pretty impressive how much space is in this X5. So we're gonna start with the trunk. I'm gonna show you guys how that works and how much space is back there. So when it comes to opening the trunk on the X5, there are 2 ways that you can do it. Well, there's actually 3 ways that you can do it. The first way is you push the button on your key. The second way that you can do it is you can push a button that is under the trunk, and you can basically just push a button and it opens. Or this also has the gesture control thing where you put like your foot under the back bumper and it also opens the trunk. So you have 3 different ways to do it, which is kind of outrageous. But I'm just gonna open it with the key. Now, one thing that's really cool about the X5 as well is that it also has a tailgate. So in order to open that part, there's actually a button on top of the tailgate. Now, when you actually get the back open, it's actually kind of cool that you can sit on this, but they have a bunch of cool features that are back here in order to like throw down the back seats if you need more room. So there's one latch on each side of the car that puts down all of the seats. So all you have to do is pull this latch that's right here, and the back seats will drop. And then when you pull this one over here, that also drops those seats, so you have more room. It also has like a little spot over here which has like you could put a safety kit in there. There's also a 12-volt outlet back here. There's some little hooks that you can put in if you want to hook something onto it. And the tailgate feature is just something that I think a lot more SUVs should have. It's actually really nice to just be sitting back here. So moving on to the coolest part of this car, and that is all of the technology and the infotainment system. As you guys may or may not know, BMW has a very good system in terms of like their maps and just the way everything is laid out on their screens. So if I turn the car on, I'm gonna show you guys just what some of the features actually look like. So first of all, you guys notice as soon as I turn the car on, everything goes back to the way that I had it when I got out of the car in the first place. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is just the maps. I feel like on a lot of cars, one thing that you start to notice over time when you buy them is how responsive a screen is when you touch it. The BMWs have a really good system in terms of how responsive it is when you actually are touching it and zooming in on things, and it's almost like touching your iPhone. Now, if we go to the main screen, there's a little home button on the middle console here. You have a bunch of different options that are kind of along the side. So you have your media, you have all of your communication, so like your phone and your messages. If you go down further than that, you have your navigation. You also have your car feature, which I'm gonna get into more of those modes in a second. And then under that you have your apps. So you can kind of adjust if you want this middle screen to be a whole map, or you want to see your radio and your map and like a calendar or whatever else you'd want on there. You have a bunch of different options as to what you can see. So if I was to go through every single thing in this car, it would probably take hours, but I'm just going to show you guys my favorite features which are in the car function. So if you go into car and then you scroll down a little bit, they have this thing called experience modes. So when you click experience modes, it'll bring you to this screen that basically has executive, expressive, and well-being. And when you scroll over the different ones, you can see that they each have like a different setting that it puts you into when you're sitting in the car. So if you want there to be more of like an executive feel in the car, then you put it on executive, and it says that it changes the ambient lighting, the temperature control, and the sun protection. So it'll close your sunroof, it'll adjust your temperature, and make the inside of the car feel more executive. So if you go over one to expressive, this changes the sun protection. So this actually opens up the sunroof and it changes the ambient lighting, so it's a little bit more like aggressive or a little bit more like upbeat. And then if you go over one more, there is a well-being setting, which it actually closes the sunroof, it turns your heated seat on, it turns your temperature climate control up, and it also changes the ambient lighting. So that is just part of the experience modes, which when you go on your car feature on here, you have access to. Now to move on to the next cool feature, it's something called Caring Car. So it's actually under the experience modes on the home screen, but when you click on Caring Car, it brings up a screen that actually has, it says Vitalize or Relax. So when you put it in Vitalize mode, what it basically does is it changes your interior of your car so that it feels like wind is blowing on your face. So I don't know if the wind is a little bit loud, but what Vitalize mode does is it actually puts you in this setting where it feels like wind is blowing on you if you were standing on the side of a hill. So it's supposed to be like vitalizing and uplifting and make you feel like really good. So you guys can hear the climate control is actually going up and down to kind of mimic wind. And then it also brings up this really nice picture of like scenery, and then it also starts playing music that's like kind of upbeat. Now, similar to Vitalize, there is a relax mode. So when you put it on relax mode, it closes the sunshade, it changes the interior of your car to like an orange or like a red, and then it also puts on really relaxing music and shows you a sunset. So there's endless possibilities in this car of like just different weird features like this. So you can click end program and it actually plays each of those scenarios for 3 minutes. and then that's supposed to either vitalize you or relax you. Okay, so moving on to some other cool features in the X5. One of the things that I was kind of surprised about is that when you're looking at this dashboard and you see all of the glass on it, one thing that you don't actually realize, and something that I only found like 5 minutes ago, was that the middle iDrive like console piece that you kind of turn, like the wheel that's right here, is actually a touchpad. Even though it's all glass and everything like looks like it's shiny, it wouldn't be anything like a touchpad. You can still use that part to put in directions on your navigation and just like spell words out. Another cool feature that's also in the X5 is that this armrest, along with your seat and your steering wheel, are all heated. So when you turn your heated seat on, this actually heats up as well and makes your arm warm. And then to be even more extra on top of that is that if you have cups, like if you go to Starbucks and you get like a cold drink and you put it in your cup holder, there are actually 2 buttons inside the cup holder. So if you have an icy drink, you put it on cold, keeps your drink cold. If you have a coffee and you want it to stay hot, you put it on the heated mode and it will actually keep your drinks hot. So like, there's so much extra things in this car that I didn't even know you could get in a car. But I mean, this is what you're getting for around a price tag of like $90,000 or $100,000. Those are some of the cool features on the infotainment system and some cool things that I think are just part of the interior of this car. So those are majority of the cool features that are in this car. The BMW X5 is definitely something that if you want a lot of technology and you want a really smooth ride and you want that cool powered tailgate, this car is pretty expensive, but if you do have the money to buy it and you are looking for an SUV, this kind of has the capability to do everything. So now that we've gone over all of that, let's take it out for a drive and see how it actually feels and experience some of the different driving modes. So we are driving the BMW X5, and the first thing that I notice when I'm driving is how smooth it is and how well the steering feels. I've felt this now in the X3 and the X5. Both of them have such good steering to the point where you barely have to touch the steering wheel and the steering is like on point. So that's the first thing that I really notice. The second thing that I notice is just like how well and how comfortable it feels to be sitting in here. The seats feel amazing. The steering wheel feels awesome to just have your hands on. And all of the buttons and everything in here just look really beautiful because of that glass finish. So I'm gonna take it down this straight road over here and put it into sport mode. There's actually 3 different sport modes. There's a standard, a plus, and an individual. So I just have it in the standard mode, but I'm gonna put it into the plus mode. Oh, and you can hear right away it switches, it downshifts, and the exhaust gets a little bit louder. Oh wow. It actually has a lot of power. So it has around 330 horsepower, but it picks up very quick. I'm not sure if you can hear that exhaust as well in the engine, but it sounds really good. Overall, the inside of this car is very comfortable, and I feel like a lot of the accents and just the button placement and everything in here is just very, it feels like everything is such good quality and it just looks really nice. This also has the Harman Kardon stereo system in it, so the audio is very good. It has Logic 7 surround sound as well, which is pretty impressive. And just like by looking at the camera right now, you guys can see just how open and how much you can actually see out of this car. The sunroof opens up a lot, so that gives a lot of visibility, and for people sitting in the back seat, it's really nice. This is a very good car. This is the first time I've ever driven an X5, and I would put this up there with the Audi Q8. Yeah, you can just hear the engine. Just sounds so good. One thing that I also noticed is that the active lane keep assist is very good in this car. If you barely cross the lane at all, the steering wheel pulls you back over. Another thing that I really like is the dashboard changes colors when you switch it in between modes. So right now I had it in Sport Plus and it was red, and now when I put it into Eco Pro, it changes it to blue. And then if I put it into Comfort mode, it changes it to like an orangish color. So it's nice that they give you those different like color options when you're looking at it on your dashboard. So overall, I gotta say, comfortability in this car is unreal. The way that it sounds is amazing for an SUV. Driving and just the way that it feels when it's on the road is unreal. There's not really much that I can say that's really bad about this car. So that is my review of the 2020 BMW X5 xDrive40i. I went over a lot of different things, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna be reviewing a lot more cars. I'll probably do the X7 coming up pretty soon, and also the Jaguar F-Type R in a convertible. So yeah, if you guys like these videos, let me know. Let me know what you would like me to actually review. And with that being said, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video.